Hello and welcome to India Today. This is Hesha Chimah, and joining me for a conversation I've got with me Team Poacher. Hello everybody. First of all, congratulations, because I have seen the show and I'm sure it's going to be well received by everybody else who watches it as well the day it releases on Amazon Prime. But I'm going to start off by just straight jumping into what actually came to my mind the first time I saw the episode. You, Richie, you've not even taken a second to build up what exactly we're gunning into once we watch the show. Usually in a subject like this, from whatever I've watched, people take time to build up, then you sort of get them accustomed to see what they're watching, and then the plot builds up. You did it in a second, so whoever's watching it knows exactly what they're getting in for. Why?
You answered the question. It's exactly it. Because this is a crime that most people do not think about. It's something we've all heard about. Everyone knows it. Children know about it. But you've never thought about it, and you've never seen it depicted, ever. In fact, no human being has ever seen that happen unless they are doing it. So I figured it's very important for us to understand what is actually happening, and then we'll understand why the people who are trying to protect those species are doing what they're doing. But if we don't set the stage for that, this is going to be abstract. And this is, you've seen it, it's not an abstract show.
It's not.
It's very action-oriented.
Okay, but what I still want to ask you is, you've taken, what, 4 years to sort of build on this whole thing and then put the show together. When you are doing something like this, when you're investing 4 precious years of your life, and all of y'all who are a part of the show, it's kind of obvious that this is coming from a space of passion. Maybe somewhere down the line, each one of y'all relate to the subject matter or the topic. But having said that, I'm going to take this opportunity and say this on camera. Maybe not many people take this cause so closely, and they might sort of, mock it. Because whether it's a socio-political issue or whether it is an environmental issue, the attention span, given everybody is using short span content for attention, sort of goes away. My question is that this particular series might stir up dinner table conversations, but what after is the intent to do with Poacher, other than it just being a passion project for each one of y'all? Starting with you, Richie.
Honestly, for me, it's about awareness. That dinner table conversation is very important to me. And it's about understanding that this crime has a major implication for even us sitting in urban environments, in cities. That we are sharing this planet with other species, and most people don't think about this. It's about understanding what our relationship as human beings are with every living thing on Earth. And just to add to that, Amazon Prime has something called the X-ray feature, which is the trivia feature. And we have flooded that feature with trivia about every animal that comes on this.
Fab.
So as you're watching the series, and again, make no mistake, you've seen it. It's a thriller. I mean, it is a fast-paced thriller about something that's very exciting and very interesting. Every time an animal shows up, pause and see what that animal is about. And understand. So my hope is that you're taken by what we show you and you're entertained by it, and it lingers. And that lingering, that seed, for me is the best thing we can do with this.
As actors, what was it for y'all?
First of all, what Richie said, it's exactly the same thing, that that we need to understand that we on this planet, we are sharing this planet with so many species, and we need to know that but the show is actually for the human world, because animals to जाके देखेंगे नहीं ये show. Humans के लिए show है, तो humans के लिए जो ये show है, people need to understand that it's the killing of a person or killing an animal, and just such a mammoth, it's a beautiful creature, and it's a part of this planet, and you are just killing them for just simple greed, human greed, and that is very it's a harrowing experience for anybody, and that dinner table discussion is must, and it should be there. And as an actor, I think that because of the human story is there, we are doing it for human beings, so there are beautiful characters, like we are the crusaders, the Samaritans, the constables, the go out of the box and help, and after the life threatening, because they are tracking a trail which is like which is so vast, and like it got connections, can be connected to international terrorism, narcotics, gun supply, trafficking. So, and at the same time, human emotions are universal.
Yeah.
Because if you like what is happening in Mala's household with her mom, and what is happening with Alan's wife and the kids' facade and the family, and what is happening in Neil's life, Neil's personal lives, those are also important.
Yeah.
Those are also very important. The simple, emotional. It's a pure crime thriller with lot of human emotions and lot of consciousness and awareness, and that is the best part of this show.
For you guys as actors, what is it that was your hook to say yes?
My motivation was Richie, I would say, because he kept telling me that, Nimisha, I'm doing this for the elephants, I'm doing this for the wildlife conservation, So, and after doing the series also, I think that after watching the series is going to stay with the audience, the characters, yes. So, the characters are so well written, it's so well researched, and I think the audience might relate to what he is trying to convey, like what I have tried to convey through the series.
But do you also feel like beyond those conversations and that awareness, there has to be like a constant lingering step that should be taken?
Yes, it should be, because I think when he came up with the script, I was unaware of the incident. I had no idea. It happened in Kerala, and I think still people are unaware of it. And they don't talk about it much. So I think after watching the series, it's going to be.
Roshan, what about you?
I think with any environmental issue at large, it's always a matter of how much importance do you give it in your head, because you don't see the changes visibly in a day or right in front of your eyes. Somebody has to present it to you. So like Richie said, raising that awareness or having the dinner table conversation to start off is probably the best thing that we can do. From having, again, like I got to watch the show finally very recently. So another thing I've really liked that Richie did in the show is that there's constantly this feeling of the animals watching us humans.
No, it's not as well.
I've never seen that perspective in anything that I've seen, before. So it is their world and we're inhabiting it. And of course, we all say this in school, in speeches, and we get the applause. But this is a sort of, it was much more real for me when I saw that in front of me, that we're tiny little humans walking around. These guys watching us from everywhere.
Yeah.
It really is their world, And another thing I really enjoyed is that the way he's shown the children that we cover in the series to be a lot more environmentally conscious and a lot more curious about the animals, about the flora and fauna. So where does that change happen? So where does this little boy who is fascinated by a frog and wants to take a picture of it grow up, and at what point does he think it's okay to just flip a plastic bottle into a river? So we need to sort of maybe figure out where that happens.
It happens to everybody.
Yeah.
It happens. We all love animals.
That's true.
Look at a baby or a toddler, that's all they are obsessed with.
Yeah.
And one thing I want to add to that too is, look, there's a simple version, there's a simple answer to your question as well. There's a QR code at the end of every episode, at the end of the credits, to donate to the Wildlife Trust of India. That's a simple one.
Yeah.
That's a simple one,
Yeah.
which is really hats off to Amazon Prime and Wildlife Trust is, where Alan's character is from. They're doing amazing work. That's a simple one. You don't know what to do, donate, done.
Yeah.
But that's not why the series exists. The series exists because it's very easy for us to feel guilty about this issue.
Yeah.
That no human being, anyone here is doing enough.
Yeah.
Or you see a plastic bottle, you get blamed for it. Or you drink out of a plastic, you just think, I'm doing something bad.
Yeah.
Just leave me alone. I don't want to make you feel guilty. I want to make you feel inspired. There's a big difference between feeling guilty and inspired. Guilt can lead to a kind of paralysis.
Yeah.
I don't know what to do and I don't want to do it anymore.
Yeah.
I hope young people watch this and say, wildlife crime fighting is way cooler than any other job I've ever seen.
Yeah, because what happens is that I think most of us are so much conditioned in our own heads that if it's not affecting us, by and large, it's okay, let's not talk about it. But the fact is that it is affecting, and that's pretty much what you guys are trying to show.
Sure.
That, hey, it's affecting you, so let's just do something about it. And I feel kudos to all of you sitting over here, that other than just making a series, there's also a cause that sort of might become more than a dinner table conversation, which is exactly what we're hoping for. Richie, I also want to ask you this, that I feel when I saw the series, the way you've depicted India, and not just this, even Delhi crime, I feel you do it better than any other Indian would. I want to ask you, how is it that you've sort of cultivated this knowledge, and what's your prep work like? And how do you do it so much better than the others, man?
I don't know. I don't know how to. I cannot compare, to be honest. Certainly, there are other films and filmmakers who inspire me so much as well. Out of
And
India.
would those be?
That's a different conversation.
That would be my next question.
But no, look. Honestly, it's observation. It's observation, and it's spending time. And with Delhi Crime, it was waiting for the police officer I needed to speak to for 14 hours in the station because they were late. And what happens in that 14 hours actually populates the whole series. Just me sitting there. How many of us have spent that much time in a police station for months and months and months with no angst about why you're there?
Yeah.
I'm not there because I have to file a case or there's some issue. I'm just watching. Same with the forest. Same with the forest officers. Same with the environments that you meet them in. I took the second or third meeting I had with the character Alan plays. We had to travel from Trivandrum to Kochi on the train, and it was monsoon season. And we decided it was completely full, so we stood in the doorway of the train while it was raining.
Wow.
And I was just on my wet notepad. He was just talking. I was I was interviewing him for 6 hours on the train while we transported ourselves. We had to get somewhere. That was how that first or second interview, third interview worked. And it's seeing those environments. And then when he says, "Oh, by the way, yeah, we took the train to this place because of the dead body." Okay. And then I see he's with some colleagues. They start having a samosa. They talk about the samosa. Oh, that's interesting. This is what populates the series. I don't make this up. I just have the patience to hang out around them.
So basically, it's observation,
Yes.
interest. So where's this interest stemming from?
Because I am so inspired by the altruism of these people. These are people who can, again, difference from a murder mystery. Chances are the people you're defending when you're a police officer or a homicide person, not going to kill you. In this case, it's just as likely that the creature you're defending, if it was in your presence, would just kill you. You're not doing it for them to say thank you.
Yeah.
You're doing it because your heart is leading you in that direction for no glory. This is the dictionary definition of altruism.
Lovely. For actors, you three specifically, right? Emotional quotient needs to be high at some point for you guys to actually depict what the cause is all about. It's not necessarily emotional quotient, has to be romance or love. It has to be pretty much what each one of you all are doing it through the series as well. Whatever that may be for your individual roles. Please help me understand and break down how did you guys sort of get to that point to nail it for us to sort of relate and then be like, oh my God, I feel his or her emotion at this point in time.
That's a damn good question.
Thank you. Whoever wants to take it first.
Yeah. Whoever gets last is very lucky. We were talking about this morning.
Yeah.
We were talking about it this morning.
So, see, the thing is that what I believe I say to you that the emotions are actually the same, human emotions. Like if you really feeling claustrophobic, the audience also can feel the claustrophobia.
Yeah.
So if you're really unhappy, and if you can truly depict that through your craft and through everything, then audience will also feel unhappy. So I don't think that you need to do a struggle to translate that emotions as well, because when you are acting in a project with a creator director and such a creator director, then everything is simplified. Everything is there on the research material. Everything is there in his head, and you just have a query and you have a straightforward answer for that, because you are not serving Google or something like that for that simple query. So basically, my job is to surrender to the director, and this time he says it's okay, I'm done, and it's a good take, then I'm completely out of it, because I don't know the box office.
Yeah.
I don't know anything. I just know my captain of the ship, and it is his vision. So
there was a point during the shoot I had to go to the hospital. There was some weird infection in my finger I picked up from the jungle. so we won't mess around with those things. So they went and looked at it, and as the person was looking at it, and it was minor, had a little surgery he had to do. 10 students came in and were taking notes.
Oh, damn.
And I'm like, what's this? And they're like, oh, just some interns who are studying. And I said, okay. And I'm like, oh, we haven't shot your scene yet where he gets bad news in a doctor's office. And I said, I'm going to throw these interns in when you get the worst news of your life. And because they don't care. They're just coming to study.
It's objective.
And what's that going to do to you?
Yeah.
And I mean, the subtlety with which he plays that scene, because that's the thing, life doesn't give you, when you get very intense news or you realize something, you're never in a pristine environment to do that.
Yeah.
The washroom is not the ideal circumstance for what you're doing.
Yeah,
the
yeah.
church is not
The
the ideal
church.
circumstance at a wedding.
Yeah.
You don't get the moments.
Yeah.
So that's, for me, it's by the way. You're going to get the worst dramatic moments of your life, or the most intense, along the journey. What do you do? And that's where I see them react, and it's amazing.
What was it for you guys individually?
I think, what I thought of when you asked me that question was, so I had a very short period in my life where I was very blind and confused about what I wanted to do or what drives me or what do I feel passionate about. And then I was very fortunate to find it. And I found, I found acting, and it's a sort of job that comes with a lot of glory, perhaps.
Sure.
A lot of perks, perhaps. But I found theatre first, and I found myself enjoying the process of doing it rather than what comes after. And there's a similar graph for the character that I play. This person who I met and tried to understand, spend time with. He's found, his kick. He's found his passion in just doing something, and he's part of this investigation. He's part of this team that's cracking this whole thing down. He's not going to get anything out of it, like Richie said. It's not even going to go on record that he was part of it. It can't.
Yeah.
So he's in it just for the joy of doing it, and that's something that I really connected with also.
Nimisha, for you?
I don't follow any particular process, For me, it depends upon the director, the script, the character, and the co-actors that you're working with. I'm a very spontaneous actor, so if you ask me what happens in between action and cut, I have no idea. But there's this particular scene that he said, the bathroom wala scene, where she calls her mom and she starts crying. I remember after he called cut, I hugged Richie and Johan, our DOP, and I was crying. Those are
First time you went after the take.
Yeah.
First time and only time
Yeah.
that you kept going.
But then, I also have to ask that we're in an era where streaming, box office numbers, all of that really matters, right? Social media presence and whatever, everything around it, right? When you're putting up content like this, sure, you've won an award, but that's not the agenda or the intent to work with a particular person. I want to understand deeper that in a situation like this, how do you guys actually say yes to scripts and project minus the person who you're working with? Then what excites you all? Yeah, Nimisha, I'm asking you first.
For me, it's definitely the script and then the character. I think if the scripts work out, then only your character gets noticed. And in Poacher, I wanted to try something else, and I think the emotions that Mala has, it's the range of emotions that she goes through, I wanted to experience that intensity, as an actor.
It's not necessarily the fame or the performance
definitely
or numbers.
no.
It's just the fact and the passion.
It's not about the screen time, For me, it's about that one moment that you say yes. And I think the bathroom scene, for me, it's that, as an actor, there's some scenes that it works for you, it stays with the audience also. It's not about the whole character, It's like, "Arey, wo scene bahut acha tha, wo pure series mein se." So I think for me, after watching the series, as an actor, for me, it's that scene, bathroom wala scene. I think it's going to stay with me forever. And
that's what's linger
that's
on.
Mala for me.
Roshan, what about you? I want to take your perspective
For
on
me,
this
the
before I wrap.
easiest yes to say is always when you can remove everything else, like all the glory and all the big names, the big production house, the big salary. You can remove all. If you can still remove all of that, and you feel like, oh my God, I have to be part of this. And more often than not, when those scripts come along, like 2 pages into it.
Yeah.
And this was one of those. I started reading it, and I knew, okay, this I have to do. And of course, it was really exciting that it was Richie.
For sure.
Of course, it was exciting that I'd get to work with her again. We had done 2 projects in a row. This was our 3rd, literally straight in a row. She did 1 film in between. For me, it was like 3 projects with her. So all of those factors are exciting. But first few pages of the script, I knew that I want to be in this. If there's any way I can, I want to.
Richie, before I wrap this up, I just want to ask you that at what point in time did Alia, who's the executive producer, got on board for this particular project?
It was towards the end. She saw the finished episodes. And then we had that discussion, and her response to, she was actually, I would say, maybe the first human being to see all 8 episodes who had nothing to do with the production and post of it. She was the first person to respond to it. And this was her response.
Lovely. Guys, thank you so much for your time. This was amazing. I'm glad I had this conversation. It was really stimulating, and I really hope that everybody watching gets equally stimulated by what you all have created. So all the very best and looking forward. Thank you.
Thank you.